Working in your 20s can set you up for life. It can be the most rewarding thing you do. Let's say that you go to college, okay? You get out about 22 years old, you got your college degree. If you start working at a place, and I know you want to get out of your parents' house, and that's a good thing. But if instead you live with your parents and maybe pay a couple $100 in rent or for food, something like that, you can set something up with your parents and say, hey, can I live here for a few years while I'm saving up for my future? You could have your expenses as low as $750 to $1,000. Now, if you can, after going to college, if you can pull in $40,000 or $50,000 a year on a job, and your expenses are only $1,000 a month, you can put away about $3,000 a month. If you put away $3,000 a month over 3 years, that's over $100,000. So let's use the math again, okay? So say you're 22. I go through a story of this in my own life in this video if you want to check that out. But let's say you're 22 years old, you get out of college, you get a job making $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Let's say $4,000 a month. Your expenses are $1,000. Let's say you're able to put away $3,000 per month, and your expenses don't even have to be $1,000. They could be, if you're living at home, the mom's cooking. They could be $750 to $1,000. So there is a way to put away $3,000 per month. Okay, if you do that over 3 years, that's over $100,000. Okay, 3 years. So 22 to 23. 23 to 24, 24 to 25. You're 25 years old and you have $100,000. Now, you're going to put that, this is not financial advice, okay? But let's say you put that into the S&P 500 or another index fund growing at, say, 8 to 10% a year. That money's going to start growing, okay? Let's say you say, hey, mom and dad, I want to do that 3-year thing one more time. You guys mind if I stay here? I'll try to be good. It's tough living with your parents, right? You have to follow their rules, live under their house. But if you do this thing, you will be set for life. So let's say they say, okay, yeah, go ahead and live here another 3 years. So now you're at 26, 27, 28. At 28, you save another $100,000. Now you have $200,000. And not only 200,000, but now you've saved another 100,000, but your money has also been growing. Let's say that 100 has grown now to 150,000, and now you've also saved another 100. So you have about 250, and depending on the market, anywhere from $250 to $275,000 saved up, okay? And we'll just say 250 on the low end. Congratulations, you're done. You're 28 years old. You got 150,000 that you can put down on a house. I know in today's market that's a little rough, but you could still find, I would say, a decent house depending on where now, if you live in Southern California, good luck. But you could still find in many places in the nation a decent house for 150,000. You buy that house for 150,000. Your $100,000, you just keep that in the S&P 500, and so you're 28. That 100,000 is going to double every 7 years. Okay, so if it's growing at 10%, let's just say it grows at around 10%. So you're 28. So in 7 years, that 100,000 is going to become 200,000. So at 35, it's 200,000. At 42, it's 400,000. At 49, it's 800,000. Hello, you catching this? 49, you have almost $1 million. And then by 56, it's 1.6 million. By 63, you got 2.3, 1.6, $3.2 million. So basically, you're coast fi. That means if you don't do anything with your money, if you don't do anything else, you're good. Okay. That's amazing. And then at 28, you have a house. So if you don't take out any stupid loans or get into debt, you have a house paid off, and your expenses, I mean your investments will turn into way more than $1 million by the time you're done. If you were to keep your expenses at around $29,000-$30,000 a year, you could work at a fun job. You can go train SEALs or Navy SEALs, whatever. You can work at a music store, guitar center, do something you love, teach, and your retirement is basically done. It's taken care of. Your house is done. And then you just have to come up with a way to make $30,000 a year. Or if you're a go-getter, you can make 70,000, 60, 50, 60, 70,000, and keep your expenses still low at 30 or 40,000, and you still have extra money to live and grow. If you make $70,000 a year, you can potentially put that money into a personal brokerage account, that extra money, and you can start to wipe away your $30,000 expenses as well. I mean, you can do anything. You can do whatever you want at that point. You can go like I did and go out and become a musician, or go, uh, you know, go camping, go traveling, whatever you want to do. You just have to come up with a $30,000 a year for your expenses, which you can do. So, but let's back it up even further. Let's say instead of going to college, you picked a trade. So you come out of high school at 18 and you get into as an electrician or in HVAC. And let's say the same scenario happens where you live at home for 3 years and you save up $3,000 a month. And so instead of 25, you got 100K. Now at 21, you got 100K. Right? You save $3,000 a month times 12 months is 36,000 a year, times 3 years is over 100K. So now in that scenario, you're 21 with 100K, and then you say, "Hey, mom and dad, could we do this another 3 years?" Mom and dad say yes. You go another 3 years. Now at 24, you got 250K. Now at 24, you decide to take 150K and buy a house. And some of y'all out there may not want to buy a house. You may say, "Well, I want to invest it." That's fine. But we're just going to, in this scenario, just go with me. 24, you buy a house for 150K. You have 100,000 left. And you're 24. Let's go through the math at 10% in index funds, doubling every 7 years. So you're 24, so by your 31, that 100K becomes 200K. You're 38, it becomes 400K. You're 45, you have 800K, potentially. This is not guaranteed, okay? You're 52, you have 1.6 million. You're already a millionaire by the time you're 52. You're 59, you got 3.2 million, and you're 66, you got like what, 6 million? That's insane. So that's just using that strategy and being done by 24. And you have a house and your retirement is covered. And then from 24 on, you can do whatever you want as long as you make enough to cover your expenses, which in this case, your house is paid off. So all you need is about 30 grand a year to live whatever life you want to live, and your retirement is covered. So this is the way that if you're young out there, this is the way you can really use this strategy. I know you don't want to live at home. You want to live out on your own. You want to get a dope new pad, to live in. But if you were to do that, you could be done at 24, 25, or if you go to college, 28 years old, you're done. You can do whatever you want for the next 50 years, and you got the investments just doubling, doubling, doubling. So that is not financial advice. It's just one scenario, but it's an amazing scenario. If I had done that, I would have been sitting a lot better than I am now. But we all make mistakes so that we can learn and then teach others. If you'd like to see how this applies to my own story, check out that video right there. Please subscribe.